Welcome to Berlin. Great to have you here. It's quite cold, so please dress up warmly for tonight, for the premiere. The first question would be directed to Wig, Rob, and Taylor. 5 movies in 3 years and 3 months. So the journey sort of ends now. How does it feel, Wig?
I think it feels great. I mean, you know, it's not one of those things where you feel, thank God it's over, but you just feel a sense of completion, and it's a nice feeling.
What about you, Rob and Taylor?
I think it's a really bittersweet feeling. It is. It's exciting, especially because we're so proud of these last 2 movies that we do just want to release them and have the world see them. But at the same time, it is a bummer because it's. I mean, you know, for me, it's been such a huge part of my life, and it was tough to say goodbye to.
That's why I hate going last.
Because there's nothing left to say.
Yeah, no. No, I mean, it was definitely a nice movie to end on. I mean, for doing an 8-month, what was it? We were in Baton Rouge for 8 months. To have Bill not go completely crazy with us and you know, stay good-natured and good-humored about it. It was definitely a nice ending. And also, we got to shoot the one scene in the entire series, which was actually in a warm place, which we ended on, which was really nice. That's what the sequel is going to be. Belle and Edward in the Caribbean, and they have 6 more kids.
Bill, so the last 2 movies back to back, and you've been asked twice before to direct one of the Twilight movies. Why did you say yes to this one?
Actually, that's not true. I'd been just, you know, they'd sort of sent out feelers more than anything else. But this was, the timing was right, and then I read the book, and it was so, first of all, I felt like, you know, you get to do, it's kind of cheating, you get to do the 3rd act. Everything else had been leading up to this, and this is where everything finally happens, you know. And it was so crazy in a way, that things had happened, and I was kind of like, wow, I don't think you can film that. And I started to think about it more and more, and I thought, well, there's a way to do this and that and the other thing. So it felt like one of the more challenging things I'd read.
Thank you. Questions from the floor, please. Gentleman over there in the 3rd row.
Hi there, this is Emilio from Munich Syndication Service Radio. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. It's the last book, but there are 2 more movies to go, and you get the chance to enjoy you a little bit more on screen. How do you feel about that? Was it a good decision to make it like that, and how difficult was it to get the cut right between the 2 movies? Right.
Sure. Okay, in terms of where it ends, I think it, you know, it's I don't want to give it away for, I know we're not going to open for a week here, but it does end at a part where you really complete the first story. It is its own movie, but it sort of leaves you wondering, you know, God, what's going to happen next? But yeah, it had to be 2 movies. I think, you know, Wick will talk about their discussions before I even got there, but certainly for me, you know, I've been putting together movie 2 now and trying to get it under 2 hours. There's a lot that happens here again, and it would have been just way too rushed to try to cram that all into one movie.
What we've always found with all of the books and turning them into the movies is that the fans always want more. Everything you cut, you get, you know, lambasted for. So this is the longest book. It was very clear early on that we couldn't fit everything into one movie. So Stephanie and Melissa Rosenberg, the screenwriter, worked together to really kind of come up with an idea of how to separate the 2.
Thank you. Fragen? Alle so still und schüchtern. They're very shy, the Germans.
No.
All the way in the back, the lady on the right-hand side.
Hello, welcome to Berlin. I'm Franzi from Radio Station Energy. So I'm very excited because we have the director from Dreamgirls here. Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
So my question is, have you caught them both maybe when they steal something from the set? One day, maybe makeup, or I don't know, some tattoos, or...
I have Michael Sheen's head at my house. Nobody knows about that, but I stole something. Did you steal anything?
Oh, I thought you were asking. Taylor was stealing makeup all the time. He goes back with his fake tanner.
Oh boy! Did you really steal something?
Yeah, well, they gave it to me, but yeah.
What did you? What?
Michael Sheen's head.
Oh, you actually have his head?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh, that's cool.
Killed him.
I don't have anything. No. I would like my dirt bike, but
That'd be good.
that would be cool, right? But no.
Wig, as the producer, how difficult was it actually? You know, if you look at the content of the book, it's, I mean, there are a couple of things that are quite drastic in comparison to the other books. How important was it for you the main sequences, like the wedding of a century and especially the birth-giving scene, to tame it and to produce it in the right way that the fans wouldn't be offended and would love it?
Well, as the producer, you're lucky because you hand it off to the director, and he helps conceive those scenes and brings them to the screen. So we knew that we had to deliver on the birth scene in a way that was exciting and horrific and emotional, and that was a challenge. And Bill came up with, I think he should speak to it, really, the concept of how to do it. And the sex scene, you know, Rob planned, so he decided how far he would go with it. So.
Okay, so first Bill, and then Bill about the birth scene, and then Rob about the sex scene.
The birth scene. Birth scene is, as you know, if you've read the book, it's just incredibly intense and very graphic. And I decided early on the way to tell it was we sort of just created one rule. We would only see what Bella could see. Bella's lying there. She's been drugged. She is in and out of consciousness. So we cover all the events in the book, and we hear everything that happens in the book, but we see only glimpses of it. And I actually think that sometimes can make things more powerful because your imagination's filling in the blanks. And the sex?
The sex, I mean, I had to put on, because it's a PG-13, I had to put on this like male thong. I mean, and as soon as you put that thing on, you just get into it. You just go straight into character. I really felt really at home. And it just kind of drove me a little bit crazy. And then Bill, I just said to Bill, like, just keep rolling. You got to capture every moment.
I'm not done yet.
Every moment.
The lady all the way in the back with the glasses, and then we move on to the others.
Hello, my name is Frauke Goes from Radio Berlin. Welcome to Berlin. So there are fans outside waiting for you at the Potsdamer Platz since yesterday, 10 o'clock at night. It's freezing cold. I mean, you kind of get used to this in the process of these movies, that your fans appreciate you so much, they love you so much. But how do you feel about it? And they're not teenagers, they're in their 20s.
So it gets more and more frightening every year. No, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it started off, I don't know why I'm just decided to take the initiative. It's like, I think when we did the first movie, no one, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, like, no one had any idea that it was even going to be even vaguely getting the reception that it got. I think at the 2008 Comic-Con in San Diego, it suddenly became apparent. But I mean, even then, it seemed like, you know, maybe these are the only 6,000 fans of Twilight in the world, and maybe these ones are crazy, but it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And everyone reacts exactly the same. I noticed one thing, like in Japan, the first time we went, everyone was very, very quiet, and it was kind of confusing, and it was the only country where no one was screaming. And now we go back there, and like even the Japanese distributors are saying, like, this is like not even really how kind of fans of movies react. This is very, very strange in Japanese culture for people to be screaming. Like, it's like, oh really? It's exactly the same as the rest of the world. But it's kind of interesting.
What about you, Taylor?
Yeah, I'm just surprised they're still here, because every time we see it, it does get bigger and bigger, and the fans do become more passionate. But then I tell myself there's no way that they're going to be around next year for the next movie, and sure enough they are. So no, it's amazing to be back here promoting movie number 4, and the fans are still here supporting us and just as passionate as they ever were. It continues to blow my mind.
Thank you. The lady over here in the third row.
Hello, this is Franziska from Hamburg. Nice to have you here. First question to Mr. Condon. We see Bella losing weight while she's getting more and more pregnant. I was wondering whether that was CGI or whether she has really lost so much weight, and if so, a question to her colleagues, friends. what did you think about if that is real when she like grew thinner and thinner?
You know, first of all, it's a tribute to her performance. She became weaker and weaker, and that's something she was playing. She did lose a little weight, but there were occasionally some prosthetic appliances, but it is also CGI, and it was interesting because that whole world is new to me, and this movie has something like 1,300 effect shots. But my favorite ones are that whole sequence where she becomes thinner and thinner, because I think you leave the movie theater with that question: did she do it, or was it helped? Which I think is like a great use of CGI, because it just sort of helps to tell the story. But again, the crucial thing for us was never get in the way of what Kristen was capturing on screen.
Yeah, I mean, it was very strange to see, especially when you add the sort of oversized pregnant belly to it, because I think it was like twice the size of a normal pregnancy. I guess it was like having triplets or something. And Kristen's so tiny anyway, seeing that it is kind of a disturbing sight. And also the clothes that she was wearing these kind of like lank, like everything was just, she just constantly looked terrible. And it's kind of, it was kind of depressing coming into work every day. So.
The lady over here in the second row. Microphone kommt von hinten.
Uta Tiedemann from the magazine TV Movie. What's about 3D? All big movies comes in 3D on screen. What's about Twilight? Perhaps part 2?
Do you want to talk about this?
No, we discussed, when we set out to make the movies, whether we do them in 3D, because everybody was, and I think we ultimately came to the decision that these movies don't require 3D. If anything, we would have thought about doing the second one in 3D, but we're not fans of the conversion practice. So since we were shooting both movies together, it would have been very difficult to have 2D cameras in the morning and then 3D cameras in the afternoon. And at the end of the day, the stories hold up without 3D. It takes place in a real world, and you want to experience that, and it felt like a gimmick at the end of the day to do it.
Gentleman all the way in the back. Yep.
Hi together, it's Tom Westerholt, Radio 1 Live. I have a question to Wick and one question to Taylor and Robert. A question to Wick is, the fans of Twilight do have to wait another whole year to see the rest of the fourth book, while the Harry Potter fans only had to wait half a year. So why is that? And the question to both actors is, both of you guys did other movies while shooting this period of Twilight movies. So when the whole thing is over, where do you see yourself in the future?
Well, to answer the first one, we've always found that our fans were much more patient than the Harry Potter fans, so we decided to let them wait a few more months. Ultimately, November is a great time for us to release these movies. People have kind of gotten in their heads the concept, that November is Twilight time. Also, the action and the visual effects of the second film are probably about 5 times what the first film requires, so it's going to take a much longer post-production period to work on Renesmee and the battle scenes, so that's one of the reasons we needed the time.
And then, yeah, this franchise has given us, all of us, an amazing opportunity to go off and do different things and challenge ourselves as actors. And the great thing is we didn't have to wait for the whole franchise to be done for us to be able to do that. We have been fortunate enough to do movies in between the franchise. And I mean, that's the greatest thing I could ever ask for. So it is. I mean, my goal is to continue to challenge myself to a wide variety of roles. And I couldn't be more thankful for this franchise and everybody involved, because I wouldn't have that opportunity if it wasn't for this. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of movies coming out next year, and I don't know. I mean, just kind of, it's such a massive thing. I mean, to have a series like this come kind of out of nowhere in your career, and you end up at a certain level without the the progression, I guess, to get there. It's a strange feeling. You feel like you kind of have to start your career again from a different place. So that's kind of exciting, and it involves like, quite a lot of thought and stuff. Yeah.
The lady over here on the left-hand side with the glasses. Hier vorne nochmal, wenn Sie einmal Ihre Hand heben. Genau, Sie meine ich da, fürs Mikrofon. Von der anderen Seite.
Barbara from RobertPattinsonFans.com.
I have a question for Wick.
From Robert Pattinson.
That's bad guys, so it's great. We just saw the flashback from Edward hunting humans. So what was this to experience the dark side of Edward? And for your upcoming movie Cosmopolis, you even shoot a man. How was this to play shooting someone?
The part where I'm a vampire was actually really funny to shoot, but it was very strange as well, and also the way that Edward's kind of tactics when he's hunting bad guys, I guess, is very, very strange. I mean, I love that bit. It's like, I'm going to go to the cinema to sniff out some rapists. It's really odd. Like, it just shows how kind of strange a creature Edward is. But it was very fun though. I mean, kind of felt totally and utterly bizarre doing it like I was doing a different movie. But shooting someone's fun. I mean, like, it's something I've always wanted to do since I was a little boy. No, it was really, yeah, it's kind of, especially doing it with Cronenberg as well, because he kind of, you know it's gonna look terrible after. It's gonna look like the most horrible headshot you can possibly get. And not only they didn't let me have the blank in the gun, which I was really, really looking forward to, because we were shooting from point blank range, so it would have burnt the guy's face off. But it was quite fun. I'd never done it before. I shot a horse before in the head, but I didn't shoot a guy yet.
The lady in the first row.
Hi, my name is Ursula Bowden from KCU France, and I have a question for Robert. Looking back at all the Twilight movies, how much did you yourself actually influence the way Edward is portrayed in the films?
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess once you're cast, you've influenced it in one way or another. But it's strange. I mean, I felt like each movie that went on, I did a movie pretty much in between every single installment, and I felt like I brought something from the last movie I did into the next Twilight. I mean, you learn things continuously, and I don't know. I'm not sure how much I directly influenced it, or how much I was just playing it how I read it. I mean, I think I was just playing it how I read it, really. Up until this one, where I felt like I actually made a concerted effort to sort of loosen him up a little bit. But yeah.
Taylor, just a quick question to you. Jacob has been fighting to get Bella's attention the whole time. So what was it like for you to actually read the last book and find out that he imprints on Renesmee?
I wasn't sure when I read the last book. I wasn't sure what I was reading was actually happening. I was really confused, and I was very interested to how we would film the imprinting scene. I was quite nervous about it actually, and it required a lot of conversations with Stephanie Meyer, the author of the books, who we were fortunate enough to have on set for these last two movies. A lot of conversations with Bill. And he shot it in such an amazing way where I think it was just done perfectly. I mean, I had to get it out of my mind that it's anything creepy or romantic at first. And once that was out of my mind, I was fine. But then it became, what does imprinting look like visually? What, I don't know. That was the number one thing I was confused about. So I was worried about that scene, and especially because it's such a big moment in the books. But I love the way Bill did it. There was a lot of creative ideas that I think tied it together nicely.
So how did you do it, Bill?
Well, I think it's, this actually came from, this had been figured out before I even got there, Melissa Rosenberg, that the image of the baby quickly becomes the image of the entire woman across her life, that it wasn't about, it was about a kind of very magical connection being made with the spirit of somebody else as opposed to some physical connection. So once we had that idea, then it was about making that as visually kind of rich as we could.
Thank you. The gentleman in the fourth row, yeah.
Hello, my name is José Brou from Spreewaldé. My question goes to Vic. I come back to what you said before about the Twilight fans being passionate. My experience is something different. And what would you say to the fans who are making petitions all over the world to have the film, to be able to see the film before November 2012? Is there any possibility, if there are millions or billions of fans who sign it, if the film might come sooner?
There is no possibility that it will come sooner. I love the fans, but it can't happen.
All right, short answer.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah. Gentleman over here in the third row, and then we move up to the front. Hier vorne. Der Herr, genau. Da.
Hi, my name is George. I'm from the German Taylor Lautner fan side, and my question is for Taylor. In this movie, you work a lot with Boo Boo Stewart and Julia Jones, who play Seth and
Leah.
Leah, exactly. How was it to work with them? Was it better than working with Kristen or?
So much better. No, what I loved about this movie for Jacob is I really hadn't spent much time with the Cullens before. I was always with the Wolfpack, and don't get me wrong, I mean, we have a lot of fun on set. But it was great because I was able to bounce back and forth. I was able to spend time with the pack and more time with Boo Boo and Julia, who are both amazing people, and then also spend time with the Cullens, which was a new thing for me. And the vibe with the two different people, the two different families, were so different. So I mean that was special. But no, Boo Boo and Julia are great and very talented, and I think they both do a really good job on this movie.
Lady in the first row, right here. Die Dame hier ganz vorne.
Hi, I'm Lena for Radio Galaxy, and the question's for Robert and Taylor. So we'd like to play a song for you from the soundtrack. Which one is your favorite?
Next question? Or?
No, I actually think I can take this. 1 second. Okay. It's 1,000 Years by Christina Perri. Is that it? I really like her. I think Christina Perri is really talented, so I'll go with that one.
Sorry.
And yeah.
I don't think there's a soundtrack. No, there's one song. I mean, I've only seen the movie once, and I was very overwhelmed in the premiere. So I can't. There's one song which I did hear, which I can't remember which scene it's from. But there is one song which I really like, and I'll find out. I'll get back to you.
Okay, we only have time for 3 more questions. Also, gentleman right here, and then we move to the back.
Hi, this is Joachim from German edition of Rolling Stone magazine. Robert, we're still eagerly waiting for the first record of your own songs. So what about your musical career, and what about doing a duet with Taylor on your first record?
Oof. I mean, Taylor not only is a beautiful singer, but also a phenomenal dancer. I just saw him. I would love to just do I don't know, maybe playing the bongos and some performance poetry with Taylor dancing.
There you go.
Maybe doing some clog dancing. Belly dancing. That'd be cool. But yeah, I don't know. People hate actors who become musicians, almost universally. I mean, unless you're, I don't know, unless you're a very specific type of actor. I guess there are some who recently did it. But I don't know, I'm just too scared of criticism. I can barely take criticism in films, but with films you can blame it on myriad of other people. So with acting you can, I mean with music it's really just on you. And yeah, it's kind of scary. But I mean, maybe one day. I mean, I've recorded a ton of stuff, but I just haven't released it.
Okay, 2 Fragen noch. Da war eine Dame. Nee, doch die? Ja. Die winkt.
Hi, from the German fan sideline and member B. My question is to Rob. Chris said in an interview that you are very good at comforting babies to sleep. So what was your experience to work with babies on set?
I really like working with babies. It's like, especially in Twilight movies, because you kind of playing vampires. I think Ola Collins had issues with the kind of you're never doing anything. You're never tying a shoelace. You're never eating. You're never watching TV. You never do any human activity. You're just always just kind of in a room, and it makes it quite difficult to think of how to naturalize things. As soon as you have a baby on set, that's your motivation. You can completely not think about anything else, and it really freed me up. Also, I just kind of like babies. I mean, they're just kind of cool. And the baby we had as well was a great actor. It was only 3 weeks old, and he was playing a girl too.
That's right.
Okay, last question, gentleman sitting right there. Yeah, standing up.
Hello, my name is Ollie. I'm from Steven Liebt Kino for Tele5, and I want to know from you, what frightens you? What are you afraid about? You move in horror movies, and are you afraid about anything?
What? Home invasion. Terrified of home invasion. I was going to take that.
What are you guys afraid of? I'm actually curious.
I've always deathly been afraid of sharks. Like, always.
But that's so easy to avoid.
It is, but I'm so stupid I choose to go shark diving. I've done it multiple times now, but I don't know, I feel like it kind of...
I'm terrified of sharks. I mean, it's supposed to be scary.
Yeah, it is. I don't know, it's a good one, I guess. But I would literally be afraid to go in the ocean because of sharks.
It's gonna be weird.
Bill?
Oh, tall buildings, balconies that I want to throw myself off of. Especially right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just kind of...
Rob's not afraid of anything.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of anything.
Can conquer the world.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rick, Rob and Bill and Taylor. Thank you. Vielen Dank, meine Damen und Herren, fürs Kommen, für die Fragen. Einen wunderschönen Abend noch. Nachmittag.
Thank you, Taylor. Bad reviews. So close to saying that.
That was an interesting answer.